very well. How the maybe the next game is not gonna be the blowout that was against Denver. How to control the anxious of your team if the situation is close in the game 2?
We have confidence and wisdom because of the situations we've been in over time. There's no team I'm more confident in being ready to play really in any situation than ours. I'm biased, obviously, but you also have to go make it happen. Those experiences don't guarantee you anything. They certainly don't carry over into the next experience. And so we've got the wisdom from them, we get the confidence from them, but when the ball goes up in the air tomorrow, the better team's going to win, and we want to do everything we can to be that team.
Jeff, fourth row on your right.
Jeff Zilgett, USA Today. Mark, you just saying make it happen. With the benefit now of having some time to watch the game, what didn't happen for you guys that you take away from that game and will apply to game 2?
It's always tricky, because 1-point losses are emotional, and you got to be able to strip away the emotion from that. Understand there was a lot of things we did well in the game to build a 15-point lead. There's a lot of things we did well in the game that we certainly don't want to throw out. And there's a lot of things that we can improve on. We have a lot of runway here to improve. And Indiana does too. I'm sure they don't come out of that game feeling like they played perfectly either. And so that becomes the challenge after a game 1 of a series is you've now felt the opponent a little bit. You've thrown some things out there, learned some things from the game. And now we just got to improve at some tangible things that we think we can improve at. Indiana's going to try to do the same thing, and then the better team will win.
Next seat over, Tim.
Mark, you guys have been obviously very good after wins this season too, but after losses, it just seems like it goes up a notch. What, if anything, changes about this group when it is coming off a loss?
I think nothing. I think that's the trick is you don't want to be reactive to the last game because then you can be too high after wins, you can be too low after losses. We just get ourselves to neutral, understand every game's different, every game is unwritten, and you go out there, the ball goes up in the air, and the team that competes better on that night wins. That's been kind of a mental habit for us over time, and we try to carry that over to every situation, and it's obviously very important in this situation. So, but I couldn't explain it beyond that. They just do a great job of getting themselves to zero and getting ready to compete in the next moment.
Jenny, over here.
Hey Mark, Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoma. You said on Thursday you wanted to go back and watch the defense in the second half. I'm curious what you saw. You mentioned at one point that disruption was the goal. Were you guys disruptive enough defensively in the second half?
Not as disruptive as we were in the first half, but that was obviously probably an outlier as well. There's certainly things we could have done better in the second half. I thought we got a little loose on different things, but I'm also careful in these settings, especially not to take away from what Indiana did. There's 2 teams out there playing, and they did a really good job in the second half of that game, certainly in the back half of the fourth quarter, to put themselves in position to get a win the way they did. And so they deserve credit for that. But certainly, when the door shuts and we're watching film, we're looking at it through our lens, through the things we can control. We thought we left some stuff on the table in that game. Like I said, I'm sure they feel that way too. But now we have to start the process of improving and growing in the series.
On your right, Dan, third row.
Dan Devine, Yahoo Sports. Mark, it was one of Shea's highest usage, highest shot attempt, lowest pass out games of the season. Just wondering what you saw from his offensive process and sort of what Indiana's doing to load up on him.
Yeah, they're high up the floor on him, both on the ball and with the initial coverage. I don't think that's necessarily specific to him. They've done that, quite a bit here in these playoffs, but that's how they showed the other night in game 1. We got to the paint collectively as a team a lot. We got in there a lot. We did not convert enough on those plays, obviously. I thought there was just a lot of plays we just didn't finish. We didn't get the juice out of that squeeze. Some of that, again, is a credit to Indiana. I'm not trying to take anything away from the way they played, but we can be better in those situations. Him and everybody else. He wasn't the only one in the paint in that game. So we have to continue to try to get there. And when we get there, we have to continue to try to find the most efficient shot. I thought, we could have improved that from last game.
Front right, Tim.
Tim McMahon, ESPN. Mark, when you went back and looked at it, what stood out to you about Chet's offensive performance, and what can he do, or what can you guys do to, get him going on that end?
Yeah, I don't think anybody played their best game. So I don't want to. Certainly, he didn't play his best game, but I don't think any of us did. That wasn't our best game, flat out, with anybody. What I will say is, like, he and Dub specifically, obviously, they've carved out huge roles on our team. They're a huge reason why we're here. They're in an uncommon position for third-year players. These are guys that are in their third year. Usually, delivering in the finals is not on the curriculum for third-year players, and they've thrust themselves into that situation, which is a credit to them. And now that they're here, they have to continue to do what they've done all the way through the playoffs, which is go out there, fully compete, learn the lessons, and apply it forward. And they've done a great job of that. I think you've seen that over the course of the playoffs. They haven't always played their best game, but they always get themselves ready to play the next one. The last guy I'm worried about with that is Chet.
Joe, next row back.
Joe Martin, The Athletic. I know you spoke about this immediately after Game 1, but the lineup change you made with Wallace for Hartenstein. Did you get what you wanted out of that change, and is it something you're going to stick with in the series?
I usually don't address plans for lineups and rotations in these settings. What I'll say is we have a lot of optionality that we draw on almost nightly. If you've followed our team throughout the season, I think you know that flexibility and adaptability is the only constant. We're never staying the same. I know we've started the same lineup in the playoffs, but our rotation night to night in these series has been incredibly variant. We think that's a strength of our team. I liked how we started the game, and I liked really everything we did to build a 15-point lead, and then we didn't deliver down the stretch collectively. But we're always trying to learn from it. I mean, at the end of the day, when you have options like that, you're allowed to move in and out of those options as you see fit. We understand the trade-offs of every lineup we put on the court, and we'll continue to try to make every decision we can to give ourselves the best chance to win. That's what we did in Game 1. Didn't turn out in our favor, but that's what we'll do in Game 2 and moving forward.
Coach Oliver Martin of Ridmo, people harp on the youth of your team, but they play like 28 to 30-year-olds. They play old.
Yeah.
To what extent is it this self-screening? Whoever comes in the door has to have a certain profile. And to what extent do you overload them to prepare them for the finals, for games like they've had?
It's hard to, it's a very abstract thing to understand, but we do have an uncommon approach. There's no place we'd rather be than in the finals. Even with a young team, these guys have an uncommon mentality with that, as I've mentioned many different times. I think Sam does a great job of understanding the person that we're bringing in the door, and we do the best we can to put them in a great environment and help them grow. And how that all comes together, equal this, I think the guys deserve a lot of credit for it, the vision they have for themselves. But it's hard to understand, exactly why that is. But I do know I have great confidence in the mentality of the team, the poise of the team, confidence of the team, maturity of the team.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep, thank you.